Hello. In the last video, I explained what are arguments. I told you that an argument is a set of sentences among which one is affirmed or denied on the basis of others. Simply put, in every argument, we affirm or deny something on the basis of others. Today, we will see various functions of arguments. To explain different functions of arguments or different uses to which we put arguments into, I want you to assume the following three scenarios. First scenario, you are a teacher and you have given the evaluation sheet of your first assignment. A student come over to you and ask why she received a lower mark for that particular assignment. This is the first scenario. Second scenario, in the beginning of your course, you are informing your students that they should not multitask in the class. Third scenario, you wanted your students to do a particular research. You want them to study a particular topic. In each of these cases, you will provide them an argument, but each argument offers or do each argument takes up a different job. Consider the first scenario where your student asks you why she got a lower mark. In that particular case, you practically or in actuality, what you are doing is you are giving her an explanation, and that explanation is in a way, is an argument. But the job of that argument is to explain to your student why you gave that particular mark. We could also say that in another way, you are also trying to justify the marks you have given. So arguments could do two kinds of jobs. One, an argument could explain something. Second, an argument could justify something. These two need not be always happen together. A justification need not always be an explanation and vice versa. Consider the second scenario I told you about the multitasking. What would you do? You would again provide an argument, and in this particular case, in your argument, you would provide them with some empirical evidence, obviously done by some other researchers, and on that basis, you will provide them an argument. But in this particular case, you are not explaining something. Rather, you are, in a way, you are trying to persuade your students to do something or not to do something. Meaning, arguments can be used to persuade people. We all know the story of great Socrates who convinced or who tried to convince people through argumentation. I should warn you that a rational argument may not always help you persuade people. Socrates is a case in point. Socrates has had wonderful arguments, but you know the story. At the end of the day, he was put into jail and sentenced to death. But he did have good arguments. For more details, I would urge you all to read Apology, Socrates' Apology, written by Plato. But we always use arguments to win people's heart. Even though rational argumentation may not always help you win people's heart. Usually emotions will take over and win the heart. But arguments can be put into effective use. If you are engaging your students and providing them arguments showing that multitasking is bad, in that particular case, you are trying to persuade them on the basis of evidence. So now I have put three different functions for arguments that people have put forth. One is explanation. You will use an argument to explain something. You could also use argument to justify something, to support a claim. You could also use arguments to persuade people to change their point of view. But does arguments can make all these things happen? Yes, but it may not always work in practice. Therefore, what we want to know, that's where this course becomes important. Since arguments do not always win people's heart, and bad arguments and emotional appeal to emotions can win people's heart, we need to be quite careful whether in our own case, whether we are actually persuaded by a good argument with empirical support and proper justification, or mere appeal to emotions.